GAN just released their fastest, most advanced cube ever, and it costs nearly $85. But here's the thing, it might also just be the most addictive cube I've ever turned. So, should you actually buy the GAN 16 Max? Let's find out. On paper, the GAN 16 Max is a 56mm UV coated cube that weighs in at about just around 65 grams. Crazy light considering how much tech is packed inside. And the big headline, it's 124 magnets. There are core magnets, corner magnets, even magnets linking edges to the centers. We'll get to that later. Now, the unboxing feels pretty premium, as always with GAN. You get the cube itself, the adjustment tool, extra magnet capsules, and the usual GAN bag and manual. Hope you can read Chinese. It all screams flagship, but of course what matters most is how the cube actually turns once you take it out of the box. Taking the GAN 16 Max out of the box for the very first turns, this thing is absolutely insane. It is stupid fast, pretty much uncontrollable at first. My very first scramble, I overshot most of my turns because the layers just glide with almost no resistance. Even though its speed is currently unmanageable, the turning feel is ridiculously satisfying. It's airy, smooth, and each turn aligns well, but it doesn't feel like the magnets are overbearingly strong. I tried a few sols, but honestly, I couldn't keep up with the speed. Still, from the very first turns, I knew this was going to be a very different cube to any previous GAN release. I think the big upgrade here is the adjustment system itself. Under each center cap, which you can remove both with the new tool and your fingernail, you can find the familiar GAN tensioning system, except this time the numbers are bold and super easy to see. On the GAN 15, it was a bit of a guessing game, but now you can instantly tell what setting you're on. It's a small change, but makes adjusting your cube way easier and faster. So between the numbered tension dial and the swappable magnet rods for the corners, you get a huge amount of control over how the cube feels. Now let's talk about what actually is different inside this cube, because GAN didn't just recycle the 15 or 14 or 13 or 12's design this time, they actually substantially changed the mechanism. First up, the center skirt. Each centerpiece now flares out around the base, with what they're calling a UFO design for whatever reason. This gives extra support around the core and makes the cube feel pretty solid. And to fit that skirt, both the edges and the corners have been redesigned with a new piece design. And then there's the magnets. This cube has lots and lots of magnets. You get standard edge-to-edge magnets, corner-core magnets, edge-to-core magnets, which the GAN 15 didn't have, and edge-to-center magnets, that along with the core magnets, help to pull all the layers into alignment. Altogether, that's 124 magnets in this cube. I prefer cubes with more or less medium strength magnets. For example, the Weilong V9's magnets are too strong for my preference, and the RS3M V5 magnets are slightly too weak for me. So you'd imagine with the sheer number of magnets in this cube, that the magnets would be way too strong and disrupt my turning. But I'm happy to report, even with strong magnets in the corner pieces, that the magnets feel well balanced, help with turning accuracy, but don't feel like I'm fighting against them, trying to start each turn when I have to break the magnet attraction to turn the cube. Out of the box, the turning's fun, but it's stupidly way too fast. So here's how I set it up. Firstly, I played with the tensions a bit. The new numbered dials, again, make it super quick, and swapped to the strong core magnets for more stability. Right away, the cube feels less wild and a lot more predictable. Then I had to add lube. I used a bunch of weight 5 on the pieces, Cosmos and Galaxy Lube from Speedcube Shop to finally slow it down just enough. I found turning it after immediately having lubed it a bit tricky. The lube just seeped out everywhere and made gripping the cube pretty difficult. But once it broke in, the turning dropped to a controllable speed, while still feeling insanely fast and buttery smooth. But after having lubed it a bit more, I settled on 5 for the center travel and 10 for the tension. I found that when loosening the center travel, I had to dial up the tension a few extra clicks to keep the cube stable while slightly looser for better performance. Now, in terms of corner cutting performance, it's pretty much what you'd expect from a GAN flagship. Forward 45 degrees is no problem, but reverse is a bit weird. There's a slight dead spot here, but if you nudge the cube ever so slightly, the magnets bring the cube to a cube shape and, well, you don't need to corner cut here. But if you force it, it does corner cut. The cube just has so many magnets and such strong self-alignment, it kind of hates being in any kind of non-cube shape. So yes, it corner cuts well, but most of the time it's pretty well aligned anyway. Once I had it set up, the cube was much more usable. It's still lightning fast, but now it has some control to it, and honestly, it's stupidly addictive to turn. The pitch of the turning sound compared to the 15 is much lower, giving it a really solid premium feel, but at the same time, the cube still feels incredibly light in the hands. That combo means I can do solve after solve without my hands fatiguing. which I found isn't the case with other speed cubes that I've made recently. I think the turning feel is a little bit similar to the largely unpopular GAN 356 maglev. The turning feel of that cube was really satisfying, but the performance on that one is a couple tiers below what the 16, the 15, and the 12 offers. The sound is considerably different, and the 16 feels more light and airy, even while slowed down with thick loop. On the 16, every move feels smooth and deliberate, with a definitive but not overbearing magnetic alignment at the end of each turn. The small catching issues I sometimes had with older GAN cubes I think is virtually gone here. Now your mileage may vary, but I really don't have any issues with the minor catching on this cube, which is a great, albeit slightly overdue improvement. And when I say this cube is addictive to turn, I'm not exaggerating. I keep getting distracted from studying and work whenever this thing is on my desk. When writing this review, each time I went to turn the cube, I ended up doing another couple dozen solves before going back to writing. I really think it's the most addictive cube I've ever owned, and I have hundreds of cubes. The times I've been able to achieve with this cube at home have been fantastic, with a slight caveat. I averaged 7 seconds in competition, so achieving low 6-second averages and multiple sub-5 solves has been pleasantly surprising. I do think my look ahead has improved outside of using this cube specifically, but when I'm focused with good planning, executing F2L is super satisfying on the 16 and flows really well. I am probably going to give this one a go at my next competition, although I am slightly worried that with typical competition nerves, I might overturn with just how fast the cube is, even with the slow lube. But the big double-edged sword when it comes to turning is how accurate you need to be. Even with a bunch of lube, my cube is still set up pretty fast, and so whenever I'm turning accurately, I can really max out on the turn speed with this cube. However, if I'm slightly not focusing and I'm turning sloppily, the cube has a tendency to overshoot and misturn, leading to me messing up myself, especially during last layer algorithms. I think this is a bit of a user-related issue. If your turning is light and fast, this cube will be very well suited to you. And I overall think that's where the direction of cubing is going. In order to achieve the crazy 15 turns per second speeds that the top Chinese cubers are doing right now, you need to have fast puzzles and light and accurate turning anyway. That being said, if you can adapt your turning with a bit of lubricant and setup, it's definitely more controllable than how it was out of the box. Also do note that this cube seems to just eat lube like previous GAN releases, so buy a larger bottle and it will serve you well. So, should you buy the GAN 16 Max? If you want the absolute cutting edge, in my opinion, this hands down is the best GAN 3x3. I said it, yeah, I think it's better than the 12, better than the 15. The speed, the stability, and the self-alignment, it's just on another level, I think. It's really well refined. However, we do need to talk about the price. It's $85. Making it one of the most expensive 3x3s on the market. This is to be expected with the GAN flagship, with ultra premium pricing, but I do think with a long overdue redesign, it might just be worth it. However, of course, GAN isn't the only one making these speed cubes. The Weilong V11 also brings a pretty similar feature set with like the center skirt at a lower cost. I actually don't own one yet, but it's on its way, so if you'd like to see a full comparison between the two, let me know in the comments and I'll make it happen. There's also the possibility of a non-max version of the GAN 16 coming later at a cheaper price. We don't know yet what the differences will be, but if you're not ready to spend $85, might be smart to wait and see. For me personally, this cube is so satisfying, it keeps distracting me from studying and work whenever it's on my desk. I truly haven't felt this way about a cube before, at least not for a very long time, I think. So if you can afford it and you want the best GAN has right now, I'd say go for it. Otherwise, you could wait and see how the non-max puzzle stacks up. What do you think of the cube?
Yeah, I think it's good. It's fast but controllable and not too blocky.
What do you think they could improve?
Maybe the adjustment tool, because it looks a bit funky.
Well, you can actually take it off with your fingernail this time instead.
Maybe the price.
The price? Yeah.
It feels like you just want to turn it more.
It does, right?
Yeah.
I can't stop turning it. It's like a problem. I just keep going, just end up solving for a whole hour.
Yeah.
And just for transparency, GAN did send me the 16 Maglev Max for review, but they've had zero editorial input on this video. Everything you've heard is 100% my thoughts. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe for new cube reviews and to support the channel. If you do decide to pick up the GAN 16, head over to speedcubeshop.com and use code RE to help support the channel and grab a discount. And comment below, would you buy the GAN 16 Max right now, wait for a cheaper version, or go with a different puzzle altogether? Love to hear what you think.